Good morning, students. In my last class, I have discussed about various reforms measures that started by the government since independence to tackle the problem of Indian agriculture. As I earlier discussed that at the time of independence, the condition of Indian agriculture was very bad. Indian agriculture was showing stagnant and backward agriculture, where output productivity of Indian agriculture was very low. Farmers were still using the conventional method of farming, farming, and farmers are still dependent on rainfall. There are various kind of problem that Indian agriculture was facing. To solve these problems, to tackle these problems, government started various measures. These measures and reforms are technical reforms, institutional reforms, and other reforms or general reforms. In technical reforms, government use modern technique of uh, farming. Government encourage farmer to use modern technique like high yielding varieties of seeds, like that is also known as HYV seeds, use of chemicals, fertilizers, pesticides, use of various technique which is known as farm management like crop rotation, multiple using of multiple seeds, and mechanized means of farming like use of machines, especially tractors, threshers, and harvesters. These are the technical reforms. Another one is institutional reforms, which is also known as very famously landlord reforms, because at the time of independence or at the time of British tenure, there were various methods which are used by the British. Like uh, one is very famous, that is landlords appointed by the British, and the landlords had larger accumulation of land. So government introduced land reforms after independence, and this in these reforms, government started evolution of intermediaries, means landlords, regulation of rent, consolidation of holding, ceiling on land holdings, and redistribution of surplus land. Government also encourage cooperative farmings. Next one is few more steps also started by the government that came into the category of general reforms. In general reforms, government started expansion of irrigation facilities, means government started to provide more irrigation facilities. Second one is provision of credit. Third is regulated market and cooperative marketing society. And last one is price of support policy. First step, that is expansion of irrigation facility. With a view to raising productivity of agriculture, irrigation facilities have been expanded. In 1951, 17% of land was under permanent means of irrigation. Now, irrigation is covering about 45% of land under cultivation. In final examination, there are various there are question will be asked, that belong to 1 marks, and in that question it may be asked that in 1951, how much areas are covered by irrigation facilities. You must have to remember every data whatever I am discussing over here, so you can answer all the question in your examination. Second is provision of credit. Why is the need of credit to the farmer? Because farmer need credit to purchase inputs which are required in agriculture, like fertilizer, pesticide, insecticide, and high yielding varieties of seeds. Farmers have to pay rent of tractors and harvesters, threshers also. Sometimes farmers want to purchase themselves tractors and threshers, so for them farming become easy and the productivity of output will range. And because if the productivity will range, their income will also raise, and the quality of life will improve. For providing credit facility, government started various banks which is exclusively for providing credit to the farmer at the low rate of interest. Cooperative credit societies have been set up to provide credit to the farmers at low rate of interest. Also, rural development bank have been established to fulfill the need of credit of the farmers. Commercial banks is also providing credit to the farmers. In if you talk about data, 72% of the credit is provided by the commercial bank only. So, and one major breakthrough when in 1982 government started a bank, National Bank for Agriculture and Rural Development, that is known as NABARD. And the main function of NABARD is to institutionalize credit facility to the farmer at the national level. Next is regulated markets and cooperative marketing society. In my last class, I have been discussing that the problems of agriculture, in which I discussed that this is a huge problem in front of farmers, that there is no proper marketing facilities where farmer can sell their crops. So government to solve this problem, government started regulated markets and cooperative marketing society. Regulated market have been established across all parts of the country with a view to offering remuneration price to the farmers and protect them against exploitation by the middlemen or by the landlords. Next major step is by the government is price support policy. Under this policy, government assure minimum support price, that is also known as MSP, minimum support price. What is MSP? MSP is the price at which government procured food grains, surplus food grains from the farmers if farmer is not able to sell grains in the open market. So through MSP, government offer farmer, that is the price at which government offer farmer if farmer is not able to sell their food grains in the open market, they can sell those grains to the government at that price. Through MSP, government is able to help the farmer if farmer is not able to sell their crops in the open market. These are the few reforms which government started according to the need in the country. Students, thanks to agrarian reforms that started by the government, through which substantial improvement in it has seen substantial improvement in Indian agriculture, that was the backward and stagnant sector of the economy, and now agriculture has emerged to be a developing sector of the economy. So achievement has been so substantial that it came to be known as Green Revolution. You must have listened about Green Revolution because in earlier classes you have studied about Green Revolution. So overall, these reforms is substantially known as Green Revolution. So first, what is the meaning of Green Revolution? The term green refers to crops. and revolution refers to spurt. Crops and spurts. Together, these terms imply a spurt in crop production. It started, especially green started happening in India in the year 1967-68. And in the years 1967-68 itself, production increased by nearly 25%. India became, after the introduction of Green Revolution in 1967-68, crop productivity increased to 25%, and that from that year India becomes self-sufficient in food grains. Overall, the Green Revolution, impact of Green Revolution has been seen in two distinct phases. The phase one, two distinct, we can analyze impact of Green Revolution in two phases. In phase one, that is mid 60s to mid 70s. Phase 1, mid 60s to mid 70s. During this phase 16 to 70s, mid 16 to mid 70s, scope of Green Revolution was largely restricted to wheat and rice. Only two crop were focused in this phase, that is wheat and rice. And the cropping of wheat and rice in different region of the country, and these regions are these are Punjab, Andhra Pradesh. I will write here AP, that is Andhra Pradesh. Okay, it's better to write Andhra Pradesh because AP, another state, that is Arunachal Pradesh. Andhra Pradesh and Tamil Nadu. In first phase, basically these states were taken as a special zone where Green Revolution was introduced, and basically for two crops, that is wheat and rice. Second phase is, in second phase especially, that is the phase of mid 70s to mid 80s. That is the second tenure of second phase. During this phase, the impact of Green Revolution became widespread, catering most areas of the country and large number of crops. Large number of crops. In first phase, the two crops were, the focus was on two crops, especially wheat and rice, and the region in which these crops were introduced were Punjab, Andhra Pradesh and Tamil Nadu. After the success of first phase, in second phase, the Green Revolution started in major part of the country and introduced in larger number of crops. So the impact of Green Revolution we can discuss in two phases. And now across both these phases, few are the characteristics of the Green Revolution that I will discuss now. Across two phases that I discussed, the impact of Green Revolution can be discussed through these points. First one is spurt in crop productivity. Spurt in crop productivity. It was seen that there has been a substantial jump in crop productivity. If we compare with the time of 1951 to 2018-19, you can see the enhancement of productivity in major crops. In 1951, I will make two tables. In 1951, 52, and 2018, 19. The first crop that is I will discuss, that is wheat. The wheat productivity in 1951-52 was 660 kg, and 2018-19 it has increased to 3408 kg, 3408 kg wheat. That is the productivity of enhancement in the productivity of wheat. Second is rice. That is also a major crop, and I already discussed that in green revolution two crops is major emphasis were made on two crops, that is wheat and rice, because wheat and rice is most of the Indian consume wheat and rice every day in our country. This is the two major crops. So in rice, in 2051-52, 665 kg productivity, and in 2018, 2665, 605 kg. And next crop, that is maize. In 2018, 2019-51, 704 kg, and now it increased to 1114 kg. You can see according to the data, these data, that how productivity of major crops has been increased during the green revolution. Spurt in productivity had led to a structural shift in Indian agriculture. This and uh, this has marked the end of long period stagnation in Indian agriculture. Second characteristics of green revolution is substantial rise in area under cultivation. Yeah, that is also known as acre gaze. Area under cultivation. Area under cultivation. HYV, high yielding varieties uh, of seeds technology, has significantly reduced the time lag between sowing and harvesting of crops. Use of chemical fertilizers has eliminated the need that is that also reduce the gap between the sowing and harvesting of crops, through which the farmers are able to do double cropping, and this has led to substantial rise in gross area under cultivation. Next is shift from subsistence farming to commercial farming. Commercial farming. Shift from subsistence farming to commercial farming. As I discussed, what is subsistence farming? Subsistence farming is the farming where farmers do cropping for survival of their family, and commercial farming is related to is market oriented, where farmers learn lots of money by cropping those goods which are commercially viable. So through green revolution it was seen that shifting earlier the farmers were doing cropping for subsistence farming, and green revolution able to convince the farmers to and shift the farmer from subsistence farming to commercial farming. A substantial rise in output because of green revolution has started generating marketable surplus, that is marketable That is also marketable surplus. This has promoted the farmers to gradually shift from subsistence farming to commercial farming. First, what is marketable surplus? Again, you must be knowing, but again, I am repeating it. Marketable surplus means output. Whatever output means whatever the productivity of agriculture minus farm consumption. Farm consumption includes both consumption of crops, particular crops by the farmer's family during the year. So, uh, whatever crops remain, that is known as marketable surplus. And this surplus is available to the farmer for the sale in the market. Hence, it is called marketable surplus. By selling the marketable surplus, the farmer gets cash. He can use this cash to buy producer goods for further production and also to buy consumer goods for their current consumption. Marketable surplus is a sign of commercialization of agriculture. It is a sign of commercialization of agriculture. Next is fourth one is change in farmers outlook. Change in farmers outlook. Commercialization of agriculture has caused in the change in farmers outlook. Farming is no longer viewed as the source of subsistence. It is considered as a commercial venture as well. That it encourage farmer to do commercial farming. Because of green revolution, the perception about farmers changed, and this is no longer considered as a subsistent farming, rather it is considered as a commercial farming. So students, you can see here the impact of green revolution. The first one is, again I am repeating it, spurt in green productivity, crop productivity. Through this data you can compare the productivity of major crops, that is wheat, rice and maize, from 1951-52 to 2018-19. Then substantial rise in aggregates, that is area under cultivation, with the help of modern technique like HYV seed, fertilizers, pesticides. Farmers are able to reduce the gap between sowing and harvesting. This will help farmers to do two cropping in a year, more than two cropping in the year. Next is shift from subsistence farming to commercial farming. Because of rise in or spurt in crop productivity, the intention of farmer was subsistence farming, and that intention changed to commercial farming. Next is a change in farmers outlook. Because of rise in crop productivity, the outlook of farmer also changed. Now that is from subsistence farming. In earlier it was the motive of farmer to, most of the farmer was subsistence farming. Now because of rise in productivity or marketable surplus, this is no longer remain a subsistence farming, it is now considered as a commercial farming also. Through these there are few more positive aspect of green revolution that I will discuss in my next class. But before that, student, you must have to make important uh, write important points and make notes according to these points. Thank you.